I don't feel like I've really found my rhythm at the oven yet today. It's like a warm-up round. Plus I kind of came in midway on this one, so I'm still warming up. Okay, these muffins actually didn't have a timer set, and I actually am pretty happy with this point of flipping. I'm putting them back in now for just enough time to color the other side. Usually that's about 6 minutes. These look a little further than I want them to on the flip, but hopefully still decent. Oh yeah. Nothing wrong with that color. It's nice when you don't have to use the spatula and they just flip nicely for you. We haven't figured out really the best trick for sticking here at this bakery. I think we have a ton of new sheet pans that we've purchased in the last month that have not been quote seasoned, and those are the ones that are kind of the worst offenders. I didn't really have any trouble with this really kind of terrible sheet pan, but yet this very new looking one over here gave me more trouble. So I would argue that that is the point. I mean, we've tried to use more semolina, and that just translates into more dust, more smoke coming out of the oven, more burning of the trays. So I think we just have to be patient and bake more English muffins and season our pans a little bit. And that way we're new bakery again. Oh. Almost left that guy. Six minutes here. And now I gotta check on this next deck right away. Starting to really love the workflow at the oven, but you gotta get like so comfortable with just kind of in, out, and switching gears between 5 decks. Baguettes are very tricky to pick up. Pretty happy with that overall bake. Kind of on the lighter end, my preference, but people like them. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them. If I didn't have that second one, I don't know, maybe I'd put these in for another minute or two, but I guess the way that I think about it is there are a lot of customers that are not like me and want their bread a little lighter, and so why not give them what they want? I typically ask the question, would you like a lighter, darker one, like when we're referring to whole loaves? Because we typically have a little bit of a range. And I find that quite a few people like me enjoy darker loaves, but there's probably just as many, if not more, that enjoy lighter loaves. So yeah, we're slowly converting people to our darker ways. Sometimes in the back of the oven it bakes particularly dark, or other times when unloading on the loader, one doesn't quite make it on the loading belt and stays in for a little longer. Sometimes there's plenty of other decks to unload and we have to sacrifice the one for the many. And so we'll pull those kind of darker specimens out, and they're darker than anybody would wish to buy usually. So those are the ones that we've been cutting up into samples. And so, we're literally sampling bread that's been charred completely on the outside, and yet, it's just a thin crust, right? So it's a thin crust and then a lot of inside, which is not at all burnt. So, then we sort of surprise people because each bite is still very enjoyable. It's just a little bit of char with yeah, it takes on a different characteristic for sure, but it's kind of like the char on pizza that maybe it's more desirable than meets the eye. And until you've tried it, you might not even know. The reason baguettes are tricky to load is they don't really have, they're smaller, and so the loading belt's trying to pick them up, and that wedge is hard to create. So I don't know how many of these I'm actually going to get. I sort of failed miserably and bailed because I don't want to smash the loaves up against the back wall of the oven. The peel is like a holy object around here. When it comes out, everybody's got to like be careful. Yeah. Beware of peel, everybody. Beware of peel. The real artisanship is coming out because I have to unload with the peel. These are looking good though.
The epis?
Yeah, the olive ones. Okay, so what is proof all about? Proof is all about taking bread directly from the oven, putting it directly on the sales counter, and selling it now. So come get your fresh bread. It literally can't get any more fresh than this. Passing back the holy peel. All right, we have English muffins done. As I mentioned, so this is why I needed to pull those other ones a little lighter. You can see, like, if something goes wrong, especially with baguettes, it takes more time to now unload. And so now I've taken more time to add color to the next deck, but yet I also have to unload English muffins. So you have to make those decisions smart with this oven, otherwise you just kind of get swallowed. That's kind of the nature of an efficient machine, is you really have to know what you're doing when you're running it. And if you're sort of bad at time management, it will find that and expose it. Now these smaller baguettes, these mini baguettes if you will, these are ones that like I would consume this morning, and even though like to the eye they might be a little bit darker, this is probably like just an ideal taste if you consume it really soon. Hi, good morning. Welcome. Today we actually set it lower at 455 for these sourdough bakes. When we've been baking big centerpieces, we've been baking at 440. That 15-degree difference can really make a difference in terms of coloring the bread. Also, if both sides of the oven were just the bigger loaves, I would have probably let them trap steam for another 5 minutes. So instead of releasing at 15 minutes, I would have prolonged that a little longer to prevent them from coloring too quickly. The loaves themselves are taller in the oven, so they're going to color more quickly as a result of that as well. They're closer to that top element. We've still been playing with oven temperatures, but those settings can make a big difference. And really, the smaller or larger the object, the more you have to worry about temperature setting, because you know, the larger objects, you worry that they need to bake all the way through before they bake on the outside. The smaller objects, you need to worry that they actually, the same is true. They bake so quickly on the outside that you want them to kind of be at a hotter temperature so that they just bake fully, and you can pull them out before they burn to a crisp. I can tell I have one loaf stuck there, so I'm just going to abandon that one in the back. And these are sliced sourdough, or the sourdoughs that were basically being baked right next to the big pumpkin loaves. That deck is coming to completion too. Got one loaf stuck there. my 2-minute warning timer just went off on the English muffins. That basically means I need to get this deck unloaded fully so I can get to flipping those muffins. So right now my kind of order of operations, as I look through the oven, I found that kind of helps to zoom out and assess where all the oven is. I'm going to finish unloading this particular deck of bread, then I'm going to flip the English muffins, then I'm going to unload those pumpkins. Basically in quick succession. There's one loaf in the back with the pumpkins, and this is one of those moments where I gotta sacrifice the one for the many. I've got other ones that are really getting to the edge of the spectrum where I like them to be, and so I need to take them out in priority, and I sort of just need to, you know, not allow myself to get anxious for one loaf of bread. You know, obviously we're baking hundreds today, so it's back there, and you know, maybe it'll come out fine, maybe not. It's just got to kind of take that approach. And I'm trying to separate these now, the ones that have no ornamental scoring from the ones that do, just to make everybody else's life easier later on. So we basically are going to score the one, or slice the ones that don't have any ornamental scoring. All right, English muffin time. Still letting that one loaf go. You'd think that I'd like to flip muffins with gloves, considering they are like 200 degrees right now, these muffins, but the gloves seem to get in the way. I assure those of you who are wondering about the gloves in this situation that this is food safe. Not only do I have washed hands, but this is a surface which very little can survive on when it's 200 degrees, and it's going to continue to heat. I won't interact with these with my bare hands when they come out of the oven, so. So you sort of start to get into a flow with the oven. If you've watched any other videos so far, I'm not saying that I'm a master at this oven by any means yet, but I feel as though I can kind of move around it and navigate it in part on autopilot. Like I kind of have the right motions for it. Now the loader comes out of the way, and we retrieve our friend on the rescue mission here. It got damaged in the loader. All the more reason to think about sacrificing it time-wise, and I'll give it an assessment. It's obviously still very good to eat. Probably just take it home ourselves.